As Wine entered Jungkook's mansion after him, the artist inside of her was in awe of the beauty it held. The huge corridors, the paintings, and the architecture made her inner self dance in satisfaction. Beautiful, she whispered. Jungkook, that's great hearing from an amazing artist. Wine looked at him with fond eyes at his comment. Jungkook, this way, Wine. The guest room is prepared for you. He walked ahead and she shook her head, patting her cheeks twice, telling herself to get a hold. He opened the door to reveal a beautiful, warm, and cozy room. Jungkook, if you need anything, let me or the maids know. Wine, that's a lot. Thank you. Jungkook, come, let me show you something. He led her down another corridor. Wine followed him, confused and curious. He stopped in front of a set of a double doors. As they entered, she realized it was his room, seeing his pictures inside. The room was screaming Jungkook from every angle, dark yet warm. She wondered how it would feel to own it. Jungkook, there. He pointed at a wall. Wine saw and instantly recognized it was the same painting she painted for him not so long ago. Wine, so this is where it went. She stepped towards it. Wine, it's like it was meant to be here always. Jungkook stood behind her, so close you could feel the warmth radiating out of his body. Wine, sensing the intimacy of the moment, turned to Jungkook. Jungkook, just like you. She wanted to ask what he meant by that, but didn't. It felt so intimate to do that. He brushed his fingers through her hair, which caught her breath. Yet, he was only removing a piece of confetti from there. Wine, I should go back to room. Good night, Jungkook. He wished her back and then she left with red cheeks. He stood by the door frame of his room, eyeing every guard on the way, with that one intense look. If anyone even dared to look at that girl, they were dead. The message was so clear. When she finally disappeared into the room, he went inside his as well. Jungkook, you're becoming mine without even knowing. Anne found herself tossing and turning in the middle of the night in her plush bed. In her dream, the faces of those aggressive men followed her everywhere, forcing themselves on her. She woke up with a gasp, beads of sweat on her forehead in the chilly weather. The room felt suffocating suddenly. A shiver ran down her spine and she couldn't shake the fear away. When she couldn't relax, she decided to go to Jungkook. After a moment's hesitation, she knocked lightly. Wine. Jungkook, are you awake? The door opened, revealing Jungkook in a state of half awareness, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. Jungkook, what's wrong, Wine? Wine. I had a nightmare. I'm scared. Can can I stay with you for a while? Jungkook held open the door wide enough for her to enter. As Wine entered his room, the atmosphere felt intimate yet warm. Knowing she was safe in his presence, Jungkook gestured for her to sit on the edge of the bed, and she did. He himself sat beside her. Jungkook, nightmares can be haunting. You're safe here, Wyan. You can stay here for as long as you want. Wyan, it felt so real. Those men, they were back and I was so helpless. Jungkook, you're not alone anymore. I won't let anything harm you. His words did something to her heart once again. She got up on bed, holding a pillow, putting it in her lap, getting comfortable. Wyan, what do you do? Jungkook remained quiet for a moment. Jungkook, it's surprising. You have never heard of Chun Jungkook. Wyan, what? Her eyes widened up, hearing his surname, the one to rule the shadows, and the one the world dread. She balled her face. How come she ended up in her home of a devil, thinking she would find protection, and surprisingly, she did. She felt so warm and safe in his home, in his presence. Jungkook, does that scare you? She shook her head slowly, and he nodded in satisfaction. Jungkook, it should not. I mean no harm to you. Wyan, thank you. Jungkook, you can sleep here. I'll protect you. She did, slid under the sheets, and surprisingly, without any fear, she slept so well. Jungkook watched her sleeping, keeping his hands to him, even though he was dying to hold her. Soon, she was going to be his soon. The next morning, Jungkook dropped her off at her home. As soon as Wine disappeared into her home, Jungkook found a man near Wine's home. It set him off, and without a second thought, Jungkook approached the stranger. He grabbed the stranger by the collar and dragged him to the backside, his voice low and threatening as he spoke. Jungkook, what business do you have here? Man, I was just passing by. No business with anyone. He tried to free himself yet failed. Jungkook, stay away. I find you, I kill you. Man, you can't just threaten me like that. I've done nothing wrong. Jungkook stepped closer, twisting his arm. Jungkook, I don't care about your reasons. This place is under my protection, and anyone who poses a threat will fall the consequences. Remember my face, because if you ignored my warning, it'll be the last thing you see. He moved his jacket to a side a little. As soon as the man saw the gun, he ran away. leaving Jungkook satisfied. She was his to protect after all. Only he could be around her. Mine entered a luxurious restaurant, wearing yet another beautiful dress, gifted to her, which arrived with another letter engraved in gold. She knew who it was, and was already tempting to meet him again. The protocol she received was over the ceiling, as the manager of the restaurant himself guided her towards her table. She found Jungkook already there, looking like a gentleman in that suit, so handsome and intimidating. He stood up, fixing his coat. Jungkook, Ryan, I'm delighted you could join me. Ryan, I wonder, what's the occasion this time? Jungkook, you'll know it soon. Please have a seat. He pulled back a chair for her, and she took a seat. Jungkook, I knew that dress was made for you as soon as I landed my eyes on it. Vine looked at her cherry red colored dress that hugged her body well. Honestly, she loved it as well. Vine, thank you for this. I loved it. Jungkook, here. He extended a bunch of roses. Her heart skipped a beat in that gesture. Receiving flowers was something that she never did before. She took them and thanked him again, placing them beside her. Jungkook found that red shade quite intimidating on her. They ordered up and eat in peace, and a little conversation about daily life. Once they were done and were leaving the restaurant, Jungkook placed his coat around her shoulders, gaining her attention. Jungkook, you asked about today's occasion. She nodded and he took a step closer to her. Now that he was alone with her, he slowly took her hand, intertwining his fingers with her. The closeness between the two caught their heartbeat, leaving them unable to breathe properly. Jungkook, be mine, Vine. Give me a chance to show you how you deserve to be treated like the queen you are. Let me put the world under your feet. Vine wondered if she was dreaming. Since the night she left from his home, he had a strange effect on her. She kept dreaming about him, holding her and kissing her like she deserved to be kissed. Was it another dream of hers? Vine, what? She asked, surprised. Jungkook took another step close to her, so all of her attention was on him. Jungkook, since the day I first saw you, I wanted you to be mine. You drive me crazy. Jungkook, I've fallen so deep for you that there is no way out. Let me make you mine. She looked deep in his eyes, all of her worries fading in the air as she nodded and pulled him down for a kiss. He kissed her back, holding her body against his. He kissed her like she was always dreaming to be kissed. The way he held her and showered her with affection, she melted on the spot. He could be a mafia, but she only received affection and protection from him. Fine. Don't break my heart, Jungkook. I'll dig a hole in your chest with my own hands. His chest swelled up with pride at her words as he kissed her again. Jungkook, do it. This heart, it either lives for you or doesn't deserve to be alive.